What's up, YouTube? It's the Action Figure Grader coming back to you with a massive unboxing video. I've got a ton of really cool stuff, as you saw in the thumbnail for this video, and I needed my blank canvas. I'm getting ready to paint this canvas with acrylic, but not acrylic paint, acrylic cases. Oh, I'm such an idiot. But anyway, I've got 26 items back from Collector Archive Services. I've got some amazing items in here. Some are not, some are. I'm going to save the beauties for the very end, so stick around. But I want to go ahead and dig right in. We've got quite a few items to go through. This is going to be a long video, but it's well worth it. Trust me, I've got some neat ones here. I think what I'll do is I will start with some of my vintage collection that I had graded. And as you know, Disney just announced yesterday formally that they're going to be coming out with a cartoon called The Bad Batch. Well, this is part of The Bad Batch. Not really, but it is, because this is Clone Commander Wolf. This is a VC card, VC 168, but he came back, surprisingly, with the lowest grade I've ever received for a Big Bad Toy Store collector grade item. I have bought, I don't know about hundreds, but pretty close to it, of collector grade items from Big Bad Toy Store. You pay a little bit extra and they box them up and protect them with a poly bag. And I've always gotten like 90s, 90 plus, 95 scores. Well, this is the first time I've ever gotten a score below 90 on a collector grade item from Big Bad Toy Store. But this is Clone Commander Wolf. He came back with a card of 80, blister of 90, figure of 95, but that card score, it must have had some damage that they did not notice, and he came back with an 80 plus overall. And that's okay, you know, it happens, you know, when you send so much stuff off, occasionally something bad is going to happen, and I wouldn't say bad. I mean, it's certainly a near mint beauty, but not as high as I'd like. So my buddy Chris has already claimed it, so I'm going to give this to him at basically what it cost me to grade it. So there you go, Chris. This is your Clone Commander Wolf. It's a beautiful figure, though. I love the helmet. I just went through this one because I got another one for my son for his Christmas, so you can go back and check that out. But what an awesome figure. I love the paint apps on him. But unfortunately, it did come back with an 80 plus. But this is really the only one that I was disappointed by in the scores. So I'm going to go through all these. It's going to be a long video. I apologize ahead of time, and wow, my camera is acting wonky. So, all right, next, we have the re-release of Boba Fett, The Empire Strikes Back. This is the VC09 re-release that just came out, I guess, last year, question mark. But he turned out really nice. I love that card art, obviously. Beautiful, beautiful card. Nice figure. But this is the re-release. This is not the original Vintage Collection version. He came back with a 90, and here is, if we can get the camera to focus, Boba Fett's card got a 90, blister got a 90, figure got a 95, so a very solid 90. Yeah, this is the 2019 version of VC09. So a beautiful, beautiful example. Very happy to have that one in my collection now. Next, we have got a Whopper. I bought that wave with the Power Droid. I bought that entire wave, and I think that entire wave is in here, including Clone Commander Wolf. He was part of this Power Droid wave. But check out how good this Power Droid looks in acrylic. It is gorgeous, and kind of a strange blister to it, but really nice. And it came back with a 95 grade, so very, very high score for this one. The card got a 95, the blister got a 90, figure got a 95 for an overall 95.9, VC 167. What a gorgeous item. So very happy to have this one, but this is one where, you know, if I get a 95 grade from Big Bad Toy Store and one of their collector grade items, that more than offsets my 80 plus. I can always get another Clone Commander Wolf, but it's awfully difficult, even with modern items, to get a 95 overall score. So, just awesome. Just awesome. Looks great. So, that is the Power Droid. I'm making fairly quick work here. We got 23 more to go. I'm going to be spending a little bit more time on some of these versus others, but let's see what we got. Next is K2SO. I think he's part of that same wave. Definitely, in terms of recent releases, as I mentioned in my other video, I bought one of these for my son. But here he is, K2SO on the Rogue One card. What an awesome figure. Absolutely cool. I really like this one a lot. Just great card art. I mean, I have zero complaints about this figure. It's just such a cool looking figure. And he came back with a 90 also. The card got a 90. The blister got a 90. And the figure score is a 95. VC 170. So, K2SO. One of the highlights of that movie. Although, in general, I love that movie. And I feel like it got a... I don't think it's as appreciated as it should be. It's a great war movie. It's not a Star Wars movie to me, but it's more of a war movie, in my opinion. But an awesome movie. So, very happy to have him. Next, we've got the star of the hour, so to speak. I had to get a Mandalorian graded. I've actually got two in grading. This is the first one to arrive back. But this is the original Mandalorian figure. Awfully pretty. Turned out great. And I just really like it. I've also got a miss card with the Mandalorian on a General Lando card back, but now I've got the straight Mandalorian. He came back also with a 90. The card got a 90. The blister got a 90. Figure got a 95. Beautiful. Beautiful. Cannot believe how much of a hit that is. I hope that the rest of the shows hold a candle to the Mandalorian, and we have some good content moving forward. We'll see. We shall see. You never know. It might be an overload of Disney Star Wars, but we'll see. This is the Sith Trooper. I've got another one. I've got another Sith Trooper in this batch that I'm going to save for the end. You want to stick around for it, though. It's pretty amazing. But this is the standard Rise of Skywalker Sith Trooper. I think I've got the Jet Trooper already. But what an awesome figure. Some of the Rise of Skywalker figures are not particularly well-liked due to the movie not being all that well-liked, but this is one I had to have for my Trooper collection. And it got a 90-plus score. The card got a 90. The blister got a 90. Figure got a 95. Overall, 90-plus. Awesome figure. Looks really good. But stick around. I've got one that blows that one out of the water. So... Next, we've got the standard Princess Leia Organa in the Yavin ceremony outfit. Another one I really liked. There is an error card of this one. So this is VC 150. I'm going on memory, but I believe there's also a miscard of VC 164, which is supposed to be Cara Dune from The Mandalorian. But there were a few card backs that made it out the door that have an error, and I have one of those in grading that should be back in the next month or two. So we'll take a look at that. But this is the standard VC 150, the corrected card back. So they, Hasbro corrected it after the fact, but a beautiful figure. Let's see if we can get a better zoom here of the figure. There we go. Very nice. A little bit strange face sculpt in my opinion, but I like the soft goods. And this one came back with a 95 also. Straight 95s across the board. I mean, you cannot get any more mint than this one. Beautiful. 95 score. So got two 95s in this batch. I think that's the only 95s I have in this batch. Okay, so next we have the Star Wars Shadow Trooper. Another big bad toy store purchase. Awesome card back. And I'm sorry about the poly bags, but I just literally received these, so we're gonna have to make do. VC 163. The card got a 90, the blister got a 90, and the figure got a 95, so an overall 90. What an awesome item. I love those eyes. Look at those eyes, man. That is awesome. Looks really good. Those accessories just really pop too. But very happy to have him as well. And, okay, so now let's take a look at a wonky one, but I like this one a lot because it's got such a history behind it. This is the foil card Ultimate Galactic Hunt version of Luke Skywalker in Bespin Fatigues, VC04. So this has got the free Boba Fett offer. It's got the foil. You can see the foil shining there around the racetrack. But this one has been signed. This one was signed by Jim Swearingen. I hope I'm pronouncing his name correctly. You can see here the autograph. Jim was the senior Kenner toy designer and artist who came up with 11 of the original 12 vintage Kenner Star Wars figures, as well as Boba Fett. So he was also the designer on a number of vehicles. I believe the X-Wing. I may be incorrect on that. But he designed a number of the Kenner vehicles. He designed many of the original 12 figures, 11 of the 12, as well as Boba Fett. So he's basically the Toy Father, and that's what he goes by. That's his nickname, is the Toy Father. But I found this autographed by him, and I thought it would be kind of a cool thing to have in my collection, since I do have a couple of other kind of concept artist type stuff autographed. I think I've got a VC TIE Fighter signed by Colin Cantwell, who was the original concept artist on the original Star Wars film, and he came out with the look of the TIE Fighter. And I've got a gigantic box, the VC Vintage Collection. I think it's a Walmart exclusive TIE Fighter signed by him. But this is another artist, but he worked for Kenner, so he was the senior toy artist. And it's really cool to have kind of another signed item for my collection. But anyway, this one came back with an 85, and the card got an 85, the blister and the figure got a 90, signed by Jim Swearingen, Luke Skywalker, Bespin Fatigues, VC04. So this is the 2010 foil chase card with the free Boba Fett offer. So a really, really nice item to have. And so that's that. Another item, another Luke from that wave with the power droid. This is Luke in his Stormtrooper disguise. I talked about this one briefly already, but the face sculpt is not something I'm particularly fond of, but it's not bad. It's not bad. Great card art. Really beautiful. And this one also got a 90. The card got a 95, the blister got a 90, and the figure got a 90. So 91.8 overall. Luke Skywalker, VC 169. Luke in Stormtrooper disguise. So really cool. I've got two more vintage. I've got a few more vintage collections. We'll get back to those in a second. Here is a vintage Kenner item. Let's sneak this one in here. This is another squid head for my collection. This is the made in Mexico Lilly Letty factory squid head. So a really nice example. I found this for a very good deal. Beautiful, beautiful figure. This one came back with an 80 plus. So let's see. Made in Mexico squid head. The card got an 80. The blister got an 85 and the figure got a 90. So 80 plus overall, made in Mexico. So, you know, the Lilly Letty factory, they had their own card backs for the Mexican market. Obviously, those are insanely expensive. But if you're looking for a foreign-made Kenner, vintage Kenner item, these were made for the U.S. market. So they were made in Mexico. It's blocked by the statement of archival, but it'll say made in Mexico on the back. I'll go through this one without the polybag at a later date. And there's also a little breathing hole for the figure on the back. That's a factory punch. So we'll take a look at that. I've already shown you my Reese made in Mexico, but this is the squid head made in Mexico. Beautiful item, beautiful condition, 80 plus overall. So really, really nice. I got a few squid head mint on cards now. So we will be taking a closer look at those soon. Here is another one that I found on eBay, and I want to give a special thank you to fellow YouTuber Blacked Out Ewoks. He had mentioned this on his channel a while ago, and then again recently, as as a Lando, Power of the Force Lando that is fairly difficult to find. And while Lando himself clearly has been hitting the steroids too much, he's got that beefy, bulky look that is unfortunately very common for a number of the Power of the Force 2 figures. This is a fairly rare one. This has the foil label with the green card back, and these were only available in 3-packs at Sam's Club back in the day. So this is a 1997 Power of the Force 2 green card, foil label, Sam's Club exclusive. So very difficult to find. And when Blacked Out Ewoks mentioned it on his channel, I was like, I'd love to have one of those. I just think I like having Power of the Force figures, Power of the Force 2 figures. In general, the line is fairly limited in terms of rarities, and that's an oversimplification. But I've already got a number of like the really rare ones, like the transition trays and things like that. But I thought this would be kind of a nice addition just to have a store exclusive from back in the 90s. So this is what this is. This is the 1997 Kenner Star Wars Power of the Force 2 Lando Sam's Club exclusive. It got an 80+. The card got an 80. The blister got an 85, and the figure got a 90. So almost an 85. I knew it was going to be close, but I'm okay with that. It's a nice, hard to find Power of the Force 2 figure. Very difficult to find, really. I've seen very few of these for sale, and they're not cheap. So a nice addition. I just wanted something a little different for my Power of the Force collection. I've got, I don't know, maybe 25 or 30 graded Power of the Force figures. So this one will fit right in. It's really cool. Lando just looks ridiculous. Look at that sculpt. I love it, though. He reminds me of Eric LaSalle from Coming to America, except on steroids. So pretty cool. Pretty cool. I like that foil label, too. So that's Lando. Let's mix it up again. I'm going to mix it up again. This is one of my favorite video games from the mid-2000s. I played this game to death. It's called Star Wars Republic Commando. But I was surfing eBay, which is always a bad idea, and I came across this one. This is an Italian market release version of Republic Commando. You can see the Italian writing all throughout here. This was distributed by HX Halifax in conjunction with Microsoft. It's got all Italian language. At some point, I'll take off the back so you can see the cool foil Italian import stickers and things like that. But I saw this, and it was fairly reasonably priced, about the same price as a US sealed version. But I had to go ahead and grab it. But you can see here, it's all in Italian. But one of my favorite video games, I started a very, very, very small focus of getting some video games graded for my collection. I've got an Atari game, but this is the second one. So this is the Star Wars Republic Commando, made in 2005, exclusive for the Italian market. And it came back with an 85+. Xbox Star Wars, you can see LucasArts and HX Halifax. Republic Commando Italian market release. So 85+, really high grade. But what a cool item. It's just something different. At some point, it's just nice to have weird stuff. And this is a weird thing. And Collector Archive did a great job with the case. I asked them to double frame it like that. You can see the frame inside, just because if you just single framed it, it would be too thin and it wouldn't be able to display it. But this base is pretty thick, and so it can be displayed if I want to. So it may never leave the poly bag, but at some point I'll bring it out. But what awesome card art or box art for the video game. So that is a graded video game for you. Next, another special shout out to the Bounty Hunters Guild. They sent me this one. This is the 40th anniversary Black Series Empire Strikes Back with the vintage style card back. You've already seen this ungraded, but this is Chewbacca. What a monster of a figure. So he's a little over 6 inches, probably more like 8 inches tall. Great sculpt. And this is from Bounty Hunters Guild. So their eBay store is online. You can find them. But this one came back with a 90. The card got a 90. The blister got a 90. And the figure got a 90. So 6-inch Black Series. This is a fairly new release. But, I've got a number of others from an earlier wave. I've got a few more that are due back probably in my next batch. But, man, what an awesome item. It looks great graded, I think I've got Chewbacca, but Boba Fett, the Hoth Stormtrooper, and Luke Dagobah, I think it's Dagobah, are due back in my next batch. But I'm going to show you the Vader next. That's the other one that I included as part of this batch. And the Vader turned out great. As you guys know, I'm a massive Vader fan. And this one will fit right in nicely with my collection. 40th anniversary Empire Strikes Back version of Darth Vader. Look how beautiful that figure looks. I mean, just looks amazing. Looks amazing. And this one also came back with a 90. So we got a card score of 90. The blister got a 90, and the figure score is a 95. So those are the only two 6-inch Black Series in this batch. But man, they just turned out awesome. So special thanks again to Bounty Hunters Guild for such a mint item. And let's see. I'm running out of room here. I'm sorry it's so close. Let me try moving the camera back just a little bit. We can get a little bit more of these in the camera. It's a little difficult to do, but so running out of space. Okay, so I think next I'm going to show you a couple of other kind of off-the-wall items, vintage collection related, but I thought this one turned out great. This is the VC61. I'm going on memory. Mailed away prototype Boba Fett. And to do it a little differently, I did find a mailer that was included with it. So I included the mailer with the Boba Fett. It says the Boba Fett in prototype armor. He turned out great, but they put it all in one case, as you can see here. So that turned out awesome. Let's take a closer look at that. There's a little bit of damage on the box, but I told them to only grade the actual item and just display it with the box. So the box is not included as part of the grading, but I asked them to display it with it and just grade the mint on card figure. So that's what they did for me. And here is the score on that. The card got an 85, the blister got an 85, and the figure got a 95. So 85 plus overall. It turned out awesome. It's actually a lot smaller than I expected. So you can see my hand size there. It's not too bad. It's not too bad. Now I do have large hands. Let's get that out of the way. All right. But it's a lot smaller than I expected it to be, and I'm happy about that. They did a great job of very compactly presenting it, and it looks awesome. I really like that. Now, I also want to mention a big thank you to the YouTuber Boss Bounty. He sent me the actual flyer from Toys R Us that advertises the fact that there is a prototype armor mail-away. And it's mint. It's dead mint. And so, Boss Bounty, Tim, thank you very much for that. You can see that on my Instagram if you want to take a look at that. But I am going to, maybe at some point, I'll probably get another one of these and have it displayed next to the flyer from Toys R Us, because those flyers are kind of hard to find. They're not super easy to find, but Tim was so nice to mail that to me as a gift. It was very generous of him, and I want to preserve it because they're not easy to find those little flyers. The flyers maybe, I don't know, 4 by 6 inches, somewhere in there, but it would look really cool to have one with the mailer box and then one with the flyer. So that's what I think I'm probably going to do, hopefully next year sometime. So that is that one. Okay, now I've got some super en fuego vintage collection items that you have to see. I'm going to start with the less en fuego, but it's still really cool. This is the SDCC exclusive special action figure set with Dr. Aphra. It's the Dr. Aphra Comic Set. It's got Dr. Aphra. I'm sorry about the lighting. Let me scoot my camera back to get back underneath the lighting. You guys can see how large this is, and there is going to be a photo walkthrough as per usual with my with all my items. So we'll take a you'll be able to see all these in better detail at the end. But this is the SDCC exclusive of Dr. Aphra with BT1 and 000. So it's a really cool foil label, foil racetrack. These were available at SDCC, I believe, let's see, at 2018. So they're still relatively affordable, but I figured I'd go ahead and get one while it's still affordable, because I do have Dr. Aphra on the single card, and I thought it'd be cool to have both. So it's covered up right now, and at some point I'll do a walkthrough of all my 3-packs, because I've got several now. But the card art on the backs of these foil SDCC exclusives are second to none, and this is just an awesome item. But she and her buddies came back with a 90, and it's a 2018 18 Hasbro Star Wars Dr. Aphra Comic Set, SDCC exclusive, and it came back with a 90. So 90, 90, 95. But what an awesome item. I've got several 3-packs now, and it's just nice to get the SDCC exclusives kind of knocked out. I've got the 3-pack for the Jedi Destiny 3-pack, and now I've got Dr. Aphra, the Dr. Aphra Comic Set. So really cool. So that's Dr. Aphra out of the way. Now, this one, I want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart to my friend Anthony. Anthony did not need to sell this to me, but he did, and I did pay a lot for it, but it was worth every penny. But it's an ultra rare one. This is the villain set, the Target exclusive villain set, but it's ultra rare because this is a factory test shot. So this is not the retail version of the Target release. It has the Sand People, the Boba Fett, and the Snaggletooth. This is an actual factory prototype, factory test shot, meaning that the Hasbro, internally, they were testing out and sampling the retail packaging to make sure that it was okay. So, it goes through a number of different channels internally at Hasbro before they sign off on it. Well, that's what this is. And this is a factory sample. And you can see down here at the bottom where it says 0028. So what Hasbro does, or at least they did, I don't know if they still do, they emboss, it's like a gold embossed tracking number, internal employee tracking number, so employees can keep track of all the different samples. So this was the 28th example produced as they were, trying to finalize the packaging. So this is it's pretty close to the factory, the final retail packaging, but it's still an internal sample. Now, these internal samples are usually manhandled. I've seen them for sale, different lines and things like that. These are usually manhandled internally because they're being passed from employee to employee to employee. But this one is near mint. It's just an awesome example. It's got some, some light dings here and there, but it did come back with an 85. And let me show you the label on that. But this is a factory test shot. If I can get the label to focus, there we go. Factory test shot Target exclusive. So this is the 2012 special action figure set, and it came back with an 85 overall. The box got an 85, the window got an 85, and the figures got a 90. So 85 overall. So to find a factory sample, test shot, retail packaging sample, engineering sample, whatever you want to call it, in such amazing condition is very, very difficult to do. And Anthony, you were so kind to part with this one. He already has a set that he had graded by Collector Archive that was a showroom sample at a convention. I think it was an SDCC sample, and he had it encased next to a photo of the item at the SDCC show. So his is like a kind of a cool custom that has the photo next to it. But he said, I've got another one, and I bought it from him. It was not cheap, I'll say that, but he did not need to part with this. These samples are very difficult to find. So thank you again, Anthony, for such a rare, awesome, modern, prototype, test shot, whatever you want to call it. But look how awesome that looks. Now, Snaggletooth or Zutton, he's coming out next year, so that's going to be cool. And I'm sure with the Mandalorian's success that they'll probably release the Sand People, Tusken Raider. So they'll probably reuse this mold, is my guess, and maybe do some light changes to make it Mandalorian related. But and then of course it's got Boba Fett. So this is one of the prides of my vintage collection. So really awesome. Thank you again. So that's that one. Okay, I've got a few more. I want to go through some of these loose items first before I finish off with a flare here. But this is one. This is not Star Wars related, but this is Quick Kick. This is the 1991, I believe, 1991 mail away, Hasbro Direct mail away, Brazil exclusive. So this was made in Brazil. It was a Hasbro Direct mail away, and it turned out awesome. I did one of these a long time ago, and back when I sent this into Collector Archive Services, I was like, it'd be kind of cool to have another one. I've since sold this. So Jamie, this is yours. I know. I'm wishy-washy. I came to my senses and realized I can't collect everything, so I am going to send this to you, Jamie. But this is the Hasbro Direct, made in Brazil. Quick kick, silent weapons, mail away. It came back with a 90, so an awesome, awesome item. Look how beautiful that turned out. Great job encasing it. So that's the one G.I. Joe. That's the interlude. Okay, now I've got another big thank you to give. All 4 of these are bootlegs, Star Wars bootlegs. And all 4 of these I purchased from a good buddy of mine named Drew. I don't know if he watches my channel or not. He probably doesn't. But Drew was kind enough to sell me, over the course of about 6 or 9 months, several bootlegs. And I want to thank him for that. He knew that they were going to a good home because I would encase them. Encase them in acrylic carbonite. But here's the first one. This is a 3rd generation AT-AT driver, the Polish bootleg 3rd generation. So this was made around 1995. And it was he actually included the bootleg weapon. Now this is the first AT-AT driver Polish bootleg where I finally got the correct bootleg weapon to go with it. So it's a straight copy of the Kenner weapon, but it looks awesome. And what's cool about this one is that's in hot pink. His breathing apparatus is in hot pink, and it looks awesome. It's got gray limbs with the Biker Scout arms and legs, and he came back with an 80+ articulated bootleg AT-AT driver, gray, white, and pink. 3rd generation, 1990s. So Collector Archive Services did a great job encasing this one. Now, my only complaint is I wish they would go back to the recessed cases instead of these brackets. I hate brackets. I don't know why, but I'm anti-bracket. I'm an anti-bracketite, all right? I want Collector Archive Services to go back to the recessed accessory cases. So that's just me being picky. But in my personal opinion, it looks better with the recessed case. All right, that's my end of my rant. But otherwise, I love it. It turned out great. So that is my first Polish. And again, all 4 of these came from Drew. So again, thank you, buddy. This is another 3rd generation AT-AT driver. This one has like a dark blue breathing apparatus. And, you know, again, 1990s made, 3rd gen. And he came back with an 85. So articulated in gray, white, and blue. Great labeling job by Collector Archive, 1990s. 1995-ish would be the correct date. 1995 to 1997-ish. But it looks awesome. It looks really, really good. So that is the other AT-AT driver. We get to focus a little bit. Look how awesome those look, man. I love those AT-AT drivers. Now we got the coup de grace, so to speak. You can see him coming along. I am not going to be dinner tonight because I'm in acrylic now. I will not be a calamari dinner or a calamari appetizer for anybody. This is a Mexican bootleg squid head. This is unarticulated, but I'm telling you that these are super rare. They are very, very difficult to find. I mean, absolutely difficult to find. And I just want to tell Drew, thank you for sending this to me. I just absolutely love it. And he came back with a 75+ unarticulated bootleg in blue, 76.8 or 75 overall, not 75+, 75. But this is a true 1980. This is not a modern custom. This is not one of those modern pieces of junk that you see on eBay all the time. This is a true 1980s static bootleg of Squid Head in like a cool blue color. And he just looks amazing. And I've been looking for one of these forever, and it's just so difficult to find them. So thank you again, Drew. All right, we're running at 33 minutes here, so we're almost done. The final one I purchased from Drew is a doozy. You probably saw this on my Instagram, but this is a 1st generation Polish bootleg Zuckuss in a metallic green. You can see the sheen to it. But what's cool about this one is that Drew included a 1st generation weapon in light green. I hope that's coming through. But it's like a forest green or olive green. I don't know what you want to call it. But these 1st generation weapons are extremely difficult to find. And it's the correct weapon for Zuckuss. I could not be happier with it. But these metallic Zuckuss are so awesome. I love it. And my first articulated 1st generation Zuckuss, he just turned out amazing. Those orange colors really, really pop. So an awesome item. This one also came back with a 75 Zuckuss with 1st gen rifle. articulated bootleg. Awesome, awesome. Okay, we got two more. I'm running long, I know, but well worth it. The final two are our vintage collection. I did pick up one of the heavy hitters in the vintage collection that is going for major money now. And now that Ahsoka is on The Mandalorian, I don't expect them to get cheaper anytime soon. So I'm really glad I got this before all the Ahsoka madness happened on The Mandalorian. But what an awesome card. This is VC 102, and this is the Canadian version. The Canadian version. So you can't see it right now, but it is the Hasbro Canada version. Much more difficult to find than the US card or even the Tri-Logo European card. But this is the Canadian card back, and it turned out amazing. Look at that figure. One of the, probably other than maybe the Canadian Yoda with the alternate card back, this is probably the most expensive. I don't know for sure. You'll have to ask Boss Bounty or maybe Blacked Out Ewoks or somebody, but Obi-Wan Kenobi would know. But I would say that this is probably the second most expensive in the vintage collection line. So I'm glad to knock it out and just get it out of the way. It was painful buying it because it was not cheap, but it turned out amazing, and it came back with a 90 score. You can see here Hasbro Canada, so it's the Canadian card back. Clone Wars Ahsoka, the card got a 90, the blister got a 90, and the figure got a 95. So a very solid 90 score for such a difficult to find and very, well, I don't know if it's difficult to find. There's plenty of Ahsokas out there. They're just not cheap. They're just not cheap. They're pretty high demand. So it's nice to knock her out. An AFA 90, just the US card, sold a couple of months ago for like $620, believe it or not, which is insane to me. But anyway, it's nice to get the Canadian version. Finally, we've got a factory error. You probably have seen this if you looked at my Instagram from a few months back. This is a Rise of Skywalker Sith Trooper, but somehow a Jawa got on the card back. I have no idea how this happened. They are part of the same wave, so that's probably how it happened. But I saw this on eBay. I was worried it was a fake, but it was not a fake. It's a legit miscard, factory miscard of a Jawa on a Sith Trooper card back. I took a lot of flack. I took a lot of flack in the US VC group on Facebook when I showed this pre-grading. A lot of people said it was fake. Fake AF is what they were saying, and they were ridiculing me. Well, again, this is not a I told you so, but I did get it authenticated, and it did turn out awesome, and I'm really happy that it did. And I told my friends too. I was like, if it comes back fake, I'll show the rejection sticker from Collector Archive Services, and you guys can ridicule me to death, and I'll take it like a man. But it did come back legitimate. It's an 85 plus Sith Trooper / miscarded Jawa. The card got an 85, the blister got a 90, the figure got a 95, an overall 85 plus. It had some light damage to the card back, which is why it didn't get the 90. But give me a break. I have not seen another one of these out there anywhere in the groups or on eBay or anywhere. I don't know if it's just a one-off lucky thing, but some random dude listed it. I rolled the dice on it at 2 o'clock in the morning when I woke up and found it on eBay, and it turned out to be a legitimate miscard of the Jawa on a Sith Trooper card back. But how cool is that? It just looks so crazy. So this is my second vintage collection miscard. I know I'm running really long. I hope that you stuck around to see some of these cool items at the end. And I want to thank all of the folks in the collecting community for all of the positive comments that I received from my Collector Archive Services video on the top 5 facts about Star Wars bootlegs. It was a lot of fun to put together. If you have not seen it, please go check it out on Collector Archive Services YouTube channel. It was a lot of fun to put together. I know it's ridiculous, but hopefully folks enjoyed it. But the feedback from a lot of the heavy hitters and my friends and just, other YouTubers has been very positive. So I was very happy to see that. And I want to thank Collector Archive Services for allowing me to make that video. It was just a lot of fun to do. And we're planning on doing another one hopefully next year. We'll see. But anyway, I hope that you guys enjoyed this unboxing. it was a big unboxing, and I'm sorry that it ran so long, but it was worth it, I think, to show everything in detail. Thanks again so much, and I will be back soon with another video, lickety split. And also, before I end this video, can we get some likes and some and if you're not a subscriber, please do. I've got a lot of cool stuff coming back soon. I'd love to have you guys part of the journey as we kind of see how ridiculous I can get with some of this stuff. But thanks again. Talk to y'all soon.